Tapavan Kahamura Bhata Juga Kaha Kaviraj Eko kale kota gela Gauranataraj Pasane kutibo mata Anale pashibo Goranga gunera nidhi Kota gele babo Se saba sangira sange Ye koilo bilas Se sangana paya kamde Narotamadas Jaya Nilo Premadhana Karuna Prajur Hero Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Jaya Vaisnav 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 Thakur Vaisnav Thakur Jaya Vaisnav Thakur Jaya Vaisnav Thakur Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Srila Prabhupada Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Radha Govardhani, Radha Govardhani, Sri Radhe. Jaya Radha Govardhani, Radha Govardhani, Sri Radhe. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
We can recite the translation. You want to start, Ambika, and then we can follow on.
He who brought the treasure of divine love and was filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Srinivas Acharya gone?
Can we scroll up, Nandu? I'll let you come and do it.
Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatana? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen?
Where's the next one?
Someone else? Srila Prabhupada Ki. So hearty welcome everyone to this very auspicious occasion, the Tirubhav Mahotsava, or Disappearance anniversary of the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. So thank you all for coming and being on time. We'll start by hearing homages, everyone, from our senior devotees, and gradually there should be plenty of opportunity today for more of our devotees, our second and third generation devotees, grand disciples, great-grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada also to speak. Like a lot of the big festivals now in Srila Prabhupada's movement, this festival is also becoming bigger and bigger every year. To the point where, starting, of course, this morning at 4:30, but continuing on virtually all day and all night, there are festivities glorifying Srila Prabhupada from his grateful followers all over the world. And for example, this evening, again, after a little bit of a break this afternoon, there will be another wonderful evening program. Madhurangi and Narahari Prabhus will be heading that up, and that starts at 6 o'clock with Damodar Arstakam prayers. At 6:30 there will be Gora Arati. At 7 o'clock there will be more sit-down kirtan, and then at 7:20, which is the time that Srila Prabhupada left this world to enter into Nitya Lila, the Lord's eternal pastimes, there will be beautiful Arati, bhajans, and the offerings of lamps. So that's again later on this afternoon and this evening. But without any further ado, everyone, we have the microphone set up here. There's also a chair if any of our seniors would like to sit and read their offerings. But otherwise, we'd like to call on His Holiness Mukunda Goswami, our senior most Maharaj. Would you like to step up and share a few thoughts and realizations about Srila Prabhupada with all of us? Thank you. After Maharaj Ambika, I might ask you to speak, please. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Nama Om Vaishnapadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesa Sanyavari Paschatya Deshatarane. So we just have a limited amount of time to glorify Srila Prabhupada, so I'm going to talk about one particular incident that took place in Los Angeles at the end of 1972. I heard about this in a lecture, and Prabhupada in 1972 had completed the translation of Nectar Devotion, the summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami. And he said that if he had translated the entire book, it would have come to over 1,000 pages, but he limited it to about 400 pages. So he said that every one of you, he was talking to the devotees in Los Angeles, every one of you, and this was probably being broadcast in other parts of the world, should read this repeatedly, this book repeatedly, Nectar of Devotion. Not just once, not just twice, but repeatedly. And every time you have a question, you shouldn't ask me, but you should read the book and you'll get the answer there. So the idea is that Prabhupada's teachings are such that they can be repeated and one can get a deeper understanding each time one reads it. That is the idea. It's not just one reading that we can check it off the list, but especially with his core values books like Nectar of Devotion, Sri Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam, and Nectar of Instruction, of course, by Rupa Goswami. They should be read over and over again. It's not that one should necessarily delve into many writings of other devotees. Some are good and some are not so good. Some have left active service of Krishna consciousness. So one has to be careful. And one can read these books repeatedly. Like Nectar of Devotion, it can be read as many as 4 or 5 times, and each time one gets new enlightenment out of it. So that's not only in Nectar of Devotion, but all the writings and teachings of Srila Prabhupada in lectures and walks, and especially his books. He once said that his only complaint was that people don't read my books, and sometimes he would arise at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning and start translating. Almost every day he was doing that. So he underwent a great deal of austerity and sacrifice to help us become more Krishna conscious. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ambika. And then Ramai Maharaj, after Ambika's spoken, if you would, thank you so much.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vasaya Bhutale Smati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastitadi Satarani. So Srila Prabhupada's Disappearance Day is the saddest day in our Vaishnava calendar, naturally. And for disciples to feel bereavement on this day at the loss of the spiritual master is very natural, because the Guru has pulled us out of the ocean of the material world, samsara, and has given us the recipe for eternal happiness. In our case, to chant, to dance, and be happy. So in the 4th canto, in the 28th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our eternal written guide, it's stated that one should cry for the loss of the spiritual master. And so that emotion stems from the shared relationship between them, and from the deep gratitude of the disciple. So who else but the Guru can alter the whole trajectory of one's life, and so that our goals are centered around loving service to the Lord. So that debt can actually never be repaid. So despite this, the 4th canto describes that the disciple and Guru have actually never separated, whether serving the Vapu while alive or the Vani when the spiritual master leaves. As long as the disciple follows the instructions of the Guru, they are packed up together. As Srila Prabhupada said in New York, when he was leaving New York and the devotees were crying, he said, "You are chanting, I am chanting, so we are all packed up together." So Srila Prabhupada also told the devotees when he was leaving in 1967 to return to India, "The spiritual master remains with this disciple. Don't think I'm not with you. The spiritual master is always with Krishna, and Krishna is in everyone's heart. In this way, he's always in touch with his disciples. He can be omniscient and omnipresent because he's always close to Krishna, who is present everywhere and in full knowledge of every part of his creation. Our relationship is eternal, and the purest love is the love between Guru and disciple. That love is transcendental and eternal. So don't think I am away from you. I will never leave you." So, Srila Prabhupada, your ever-growing contribution to this planet is astounding, because, Srila Prabhupada's left only 50 years ago, and yet more and more of the books are flooding out all over the world. More and more distressed souls are opening up their hearts and minds and coming to Krishna and beginning to serve Krishna. So in that way, with every plate of prasadam that goes out, with every book that goes out, with every soul that hears the Harinam, Srila Prabhupada's glories are growing, and that's going to continue to be the case. So I'd particularly like to thank you today, Srila Prabhupada, for your perpetual mood of encouragement. For example, there was a whole story in Bombay, which I hope you've read because it's fantastic. But the first sticking point was the Mr. and Mrs. Nair. So Prabhupada prayed to get rid of Mr. Nair, and in 7 days later he had a heart attack. And then he was dealing with Mrs. Nair, who was also very tricky. And then when she finally came to her senses and signed over everything that the devotees were owed, and she fell at Prabhupada's feet and apologized, despite the fact that she'd caused him trouble for years, Srila Prabhupada said, he said, never mind, don't worry. If a man is going on the wrong path in the morning and comes back on the right path in the evening, it is all right. So I thought that was such a beautiful analogy. And we can have that in our lives. We may go out in the wrong way in the morning, but if we come back in the right way in the evening, it's okay. So there were so many difficulties and challenges over the years of establishing ISKCON, particularly in India. Purchasing those temples and getting everything going was such a challenge. And many times Srila Prabhupada could easily have given up because the devotees kept on blowing it one way or another. But still he remained determined and having that faith, and then kept on encouraging the devotees, even though they actually finished one of the contracts, in the Bombay contract. They gave it up, but Srila Prabhupada kept on fighting and went to the lawyers, so it was a wonderful fight. And he kept on encouraging everyone. So, and also the disciples struggled repeatedly on their spiritual journey, battling against the three modes, struck again by lust, anger and greed, bewildered by the mind and false ego, suffering from laziness and weakness. I mean, it's Kali Yuga after all. But Srila Prabhupada always encouraged the devotees in his classes, face-to-face, letters and personal connections. So Srila Prabhupada had this sunshine smile. So when Srila Prabhupada smiled, it's as if the whole room became golden and full of happiness, radiance. It was a very wonderful experience. And he would always smile. When he would come to a temple, so he'd ask the devotees, he'd be looking around and smile at all the devotees. So he would say, he'd be sitting there with the devotees very casually, so how are you? Is everything all right? And if everything was really not all right, you'd immediately like burst in happiness, because Prabhupada, once Prabhupada was there, any anarthas or problems or challenges, they just became so insignificant, and you just sort of basked in that happiness of Srila Prabhupada's smile and his encouragement. So I just wanted to quote a letter that Prabhupada wrote that's also very encouraging. It's from 1972. Do not be disturbed. There is no cause for anxiety. You are doing your best to serve Krishna. That is very much appreciated. So do not lose enthusiasm out of frustration. That will spoil everything. Krishna consciousness means we should always be satisfied and happy. Not that we must work something impossible, becoming overburdened, and then, because we are unhappy by so much trouble, we lose enthusiasm and give up all hope. Krishna does not like to see his sincere devotees suffer or become frustrated or depressed. He will not stand idly by in any case. So do not fear on that account. Krishna has got some plan for you. Always thinking that way, and very soon he will provide everything to your heart's desire. So thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for your soothing words of encouragement. And thank you to Srila Prabhupada for wonderfully inspiring us to aspire to love Krishna. So, Jai Srila Prabhupada, unlimited glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please keep me close despite having no qualification, your unworthy disciple. Ambika Dasi. Hare Krishna.
Jai Hari Bol. Thank you, Ambika. So after Ramai Maharaj, Vasishrestha Prabhu, would you like to speak after Maharaj? Thank you.
Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. This morning we heard a couple of wonderful addresses by Srila Prabhupada on the occasion of the disappearance anniversary of his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And interestingly, he said today there is no, I think in both of them, he said there's no need for lamentation. He mentioned prakrita and aprikita, meaning manifest and unmanifest. He said actually for a devotee, they are eternal. So there's no difference between manifest or unmanifest to our eyes. So just interestingly, last year in my Vyaspuj offering, I quoted from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was speaking about on the day of his spiritual masters and his father's, well, his father, his Shiksha Guru, his father Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's disappearance day. And just excerpted from that, this is something from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Today is a day of great happiness and not the slightest grief. Today our Master has re-entered the eternal pastimes of the Lord. Now it is our duty to remember his eternal position, name, qualities, form, and pastimes. Henceforth, we will follow in his footsteps with even greater concentration. So this is a statement from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur about his father. And so it just shows the attitude. And Prabhupada, as I said, he was more or less echoing that same sentiment. Of course, Prabhupada added that there is a little bit of a difference between the appearance days and the disappearance, that one feels the separation more on the disappearance, but nevertheless there's no lamentation as such. It is in the transcendental position. So interestingly enough, when we would go to Sridham Mayapur in the beginning, we would hear time and time again how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had made these predictions that soon there'll be a personality appear who would spread the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he made 3 predictions, and the second one was that all the people from the foreign countries will take up the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, and the third one being that all those foreigners will come back to Sridham Mayapur and join with their Bengali Vaishnava brothers and chant Jai Satchinandan, Jai Satchinandan. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur made those predictions. And Srila Prabhupada, I was reading just the other day, he said actually the real originator of the Hare Krishna movement, especially in its pure form, was Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He said in its pure form, and he said that there's probably some spiritual significance that when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur sent his teachings of Lord Chaitanya, his life and precepts around the world, he said that same year Srila Prabhupada appeared in the world. So it's not without spiritual significance. Now I was just in India and I was talking to Anuttama, and he mentioned to me that on the 50th anniversary of ISKCON, that there was a function hosted at Harvard by one of the professors there in honor of ISKCON and in honor of Prabhupada. And he said, and that Professor Hopkins attended. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he was a friend of the movement since the early days. And he actually said at one point that, he said, being an academic, he said when he was giving he said, being an academic, I make comparisons between one religion and another religion in an academic way, and one historic religious personality and another historic religious personality. And he said that, as far as Prabhupada, he said that I can only find two personalities in history that actually compare to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, even academically. He said one was Jesus and the other was Muhammad. And he said, but actually Prabhupada did even a little bit more than Jesus or Muhammad, because they preached in their own countries and their own culture. Jesus did and Muhammad did. Whereas Prabhupada, he went to foreign countries and spread the teachings, the Vaishnava teachings and the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he said in that sense, Srila Prabhupada is even greater than those two personalities. I never heard that before. Nudama was telling me that. So Prabhupada, what a wonderful Vaishnava devotee. And in this year's homage, I wrote that, well, actually I was reading that one disciple was sitting at Prabhupada's feet, and he said, Srila Prabhupada, I always want to be at your lotus feet. And Prabhupada replied, well, that will be very difficult.